Welcome to brain hack number 6. I saved probably my favorite for last. I hope that you've been enjoying this series and learning a lot and finding new ranges of motion and abilities and all sorts of things in your body. This video is just going to give you a taste of one of my favorite things to do, which is neural flossing. Now, this is a whole subject, and I do have a separate workshop on that you can check out if you want to learn a little bit more. And just to keep this video from being like a million hours long, we're going to focus just on a couple of nerves, and the sciatic nerve in particular, because that's everybody's favorite, I guess. And neural flossing, I think, really fits so well into a yoga practice. It can help us, it just helps our brain kind of get a better signal from the muscles that we're trying to use, so you can get greater strength, greater range of motion, just the muscles do their job better through nerve flossing if we need it. And I'm all the time incorporating it into the classes that I put on Move with Adell. So if you like this, then I do hope that you'll join me over there. But we'll focus primarily on the sciatic nerve, as I said. To begin with, though, we're not going to do any flosses. We're just going to go through a little sequence, and you're going to see how you feel. So begin just in your Dandasana, your staff pose, and sit nice and tall. Take a few deep breaths here. Just, get any wiggles out or whatever you need to do to bring yourself into this present moment. Remember that really yoga is in itself quite a brain hack, because we do take this time to prepare the mind and the body through this breath and through this intention. All right, and when you're ready and you're feeling settled in, go ahead and open your eyes. And here in your Dandasana, you can keep the knees bent if you need to. Let the toes move away from you if you need to, but just move into a little forward fold, nice and gentle, just to see where you are. Now, if you're very flexible, if forward folds are like comfort zone area for you, maybe pull your toes towards your face now, and that's where you're going to start to feel probably the sciatic nerve. So that in particular, if there's a big difference in the sensation that you feel with your toes pointed versus flexed, that is the sciatic nerve, not any muscles, all right? And certainly not your hamstrings. Poor old hamstrings get blamed for so much. All right, so rise on up out of that. Take your hands behind you and just warm the wrists up a little bit. Get them prepared to hold some of your weight. And have the fingers pointing forwards, then let them point out to the sides. What we're gonna do is lift the hips up so we can kind of shimmy ourselves to a squat at the front of the mat. But just real quick, nothing to do with nerve flossing, but make sure you let your shoulder, the front of the shoulder here, move forward as you move your shoulders into extension, okay? That's gonna be a much kinder on your rotator cuff. So once you're there, start to bend the knees and walk your hands forward towards your heels to come into a squat. Walk your hands forward of your feet and slowly lift up into an Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Just notice here how you feel. Bend the knees, maybe pedal the feet, whatever you need to do to feel comfortable, and just notice any restrictions, any barriers that you have in your range of motion here. And when you're ready, just roll yourself up to stand. Give everything a nice little shake. Reach the arms up. Stretch nice and tall and fold back down Uttanasana as you exhale. Inhale, come up halfway. As you exhale, step the left foot to the back of the mat, lower the left knee down, reach the arms up as you shift the hips back. Give me a little tuck of the tailbone, squeeze the glutes, push the hips forward into an Anjaneyasana with a neutral-ish pelvis. All right, then take it back, lower the hands down towards the mat. Keep the toes pointed as you move into a half Hanuman. Maybe, if that feels okay for you, you can start to start to pull the toes towards the ceiling. I'm filming all of these videos in one day, and this is the 6th one, so I'm getting a little bit tired. So you guys Thank you for being understanding. All right, walk the hands forward as you bend into that right knee again. Tuck the left toes under, lift up. Rise up into a crescent lunge. Straighten the right leg. Let the left heel lower down to the mat, and with your hands on your hips or wherever you like to, find a little pyramid pose. And I know this is a really wide pyramid, but it's just another variation of pyramid, okay? We're just testing out, again, that hamstring, how it feels. Now, rise up out of that if you need to, but you can stay low. We're just gonna pivot around into a Prasarita Padottanasana, wide-legged forward fold. So again, just kind of feeling it, maybe like me bending one knee and then the other, kind of just warming up into it, just getting into all the juicy little bits of our bodies that allow us to do this movement. And notice. And one thing that I love to make sure I do in my Prasarita is to lift up through the inner arches of the foot, pressing the ball of the foot down. That engages the inner thighs. All right, walk your hands up to the front of the mat, letting the feet follow back through that wide pyramid pose. And then you can lower the left knee down back into your half Hanuman, or maybe shimmy into a full Hanuman or just towards that. Remember, they're just names, okay? There's no law that says your Hanumanasana has to mean that your hips are on the floor, okay? All right, so it's all about just what works for you. So from your Hanumanasana, wherever you are, shimmy on out of that, bend back into the right knee, lower the hands down, lift the left foot up and take it back to your downward facing dog. Pedal out through the feet. And can you lift the left leg up into a three-legged down dog? Just hold it here, really press through the shoulders, press your shoulders up towards your ears, open up. Find a good, strong downward facing dog pressing through the hands. So just notice if there's any restrictions, maybe through that right hamstring, that are making this a little bit more challenging for you than you would like. All right, step the left foot forward, step the right to meet it. Inhale, halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Bend the knees to roll up, reach nice and long and tall. Maybe come up onto your tiptoes. Then fold back down, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha. Exhale, step the right foot back, lower the knee down, rise up into your Anjaneyasana. Then take an inhale here. As you exhale, shift back to your half Hanumanasana, same as before. Don't pull the toes towards your face until you feel comfortable with your ankle kind of more neutral, okay? And maybe even move back and forth between flexed foot and a pointed toe, just to notice like what that feels like for you. Okay, that's gonna prepare you for what's coming. Bend into the left knee, crawl the hands forward, lift the back knee up, rise up through a crescent lunge, take an inhale. As you exhale, straighten the left knee, lower the right foot down, hands to the hips or wherever you like. Move the chest forward into this wide pyramid pose. Take a breath here, just kind of notice. Notice everything that's going on, especially in the legs. Then come up just enough so you can pivot around into your Prasarita Padottanasana. You get to look at my butt if you're looking at the screen, but hopefully you're not paying attention to the screen too much and you're just paying attention to how you feel in your body. Once again, just noticing, and then we're just gonna walk the hands back to the front of the mat, letting the feet follow. Lower the left knee down, maybe slide a little bit deeper towards a Hanumanasana. Whatever works for you, just noticing. All right, so just real quick, just to kind of feel, then bring yourself out of that, bend into the left knee, hands go down, take it all the way back to your downward facing dog, and then lift the right leg up. Hold that three-legged downward facing dog and listen and notice and pay attention. So that three-legged down dog, very often people want their leg to go higher. They want that 180-degree split, but it's really not so much about what the top leg is doing. It's more about what the sciatic nerve of that left leg is going to allow you to do. All right, so lower the right leg down and step it forward actually. Step the left foot forward to meet it and lower down into a squat. Roll down onto your bum. So now you know how you feel. we're gonna see how we feel if we add a sciatic nerve floss into these. It's gonna be way too much flossing of that nerve, and we might irritate it if we were to do it in all of those positions. So what I'm gonna do is right now, with you in your Paschimottanasana kind of position, Dandasana, I'm gonna talk you through how to floss the sciatic nerve, how to get into that nerve. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna incorporate it into the poses that you feel maybe need it most, but everywhere else, just take it easy, okay? Remember, you can always just do this video again, come back to it. If you wanna try bringing it into a different position the next time you do it, okay? But when it comes to the nerves, you really only need to do it for like, I don't know, 10 seconds a day, maybe 10 seconds twice a day. But you don't want to overdo it, all right? So, starting with the left leg, what we're gonna do is to start maybe with the knees bent, especially if you do really struggle with your mobility here. If you're comfortable with the knees straight, you can straighten them. But whatever you need to do to pull your toes as close to your face as you can, all right? And then I want you to lean forward with your chest and kind of shimmy. So try and get your sit bones as far back behind you as you can. What we're looking for is a real anterior tilt of the pelvis, okay? And if you were to sit up, it's like you're doing a back bend, okay? So really poking the sit bones and the tailbone away from you. And then holding on to that position, maybe you can start to straighten the knees. Okay, but well, particularly the left, because that's the one we're going to work on. Make sure you hold on to that pulling of the toes towards you, and can you then also internally rotate? So it's not what the ankle is doing, okay? It's the whole of the leg rotating from the hip socket. So the knee is going to point over inside as well as the toes. Now that may feel like enough. Then what you do is bend and straighten through that knee, and that's just going to help lubricate all of the soft tissues that the sciatic nerve flows through. But if you're like, I'm not getting much, Adele, I want more, then we can increase the tension of the nerve by pulling it tight through the upper body. And so you're going to bring your chin to your chest, and that's where I really start to feel it. If you want a little bit more, bring your right ear to your right shoulder. All right, and then again, you kind of floss it. You can do that with the knee, bending and straightening, or maybe you take the ear towards and then away from the shoulder. You can do the both at the same time. All right, so funny little movement. But once you've done that about 10 times or so, you can release that. Maybe just still shake it all out, okay? So this sometimes can take a little practice as well. So no worries if you didn't get it on the first time. I do have a whole workshop on this that I encourage you to check out if you're liking this. So let's do the right leg. So same as before, put a little bend in the knee and pull the toes towards you, then tilt the pelvis so the sit bones are pointing back behind you. Then maybe start to straighten that right knee out, see where you can get to, and internally rotate. So knee and foot, the whole of the leg now pointing inwards. If you want more, bring the chin to the chest, bring the left ear to the left shoulder. So we're literally bringing the brain and the spinal cord in as far away from the end of the sciatic nerve that lives in your foot as possible. And then same as before, just about 10 times, nice and slow, nice and gentle. It's when it comes to our nerves, it's not a matter of like the more you do, the better it's not like strengthening a muscle where you push and push and push. You don't want to stress it out too much. Just looking for a little bit of sensation. All right. So just like before, you can kind of floss through that nerve by bending and straightening the knee, maybe taking the ear away from the shoulder and then towards it again. And you can also do the two at the same time. All right, so take a break from that and we'll repeat that sequence. So just to repeat, add in those nerve flosses just where it works for you, okay? Wherever you want, but you don't need to do it everywhere. So get your wrists ready to hold your weight And hopefully after that nerve floss, this upward plank is going to feel a bit easier as well. So can you dig your heels into the mat, put a little bend through the knees, and then lift your hips up, and then pull with your heels, digging into the mat to pull your hips towards your heels. Little hamstring workout there. All right, into your squat and move the feet back, the hands forward. Rise up through the hips, keeping the chest low, into your standing forward fold. So if you were to want to do a little nerve floss here, then you might walk the hands forward so that you're getting that dorsiflexion of the feet. Maybe pull the toes up towards the sky. You can internally rotate. Another thing that you can add is to actually bring the inner arches down towards the mat. So looks all wrong, but this will get into a slightly different branch of the sciatic nerve, so you can try that out. All right, we'll move on though. Step the left foot to the back of the mat, lower the knee down, rise up to your Anjaneyasana, your low lunge, and then shift everything back, straighten through the right leg, point the right toe, and then as you slowly bring the toes towards your face, start to find that sensation. If you wanted to floss here, you could internally rotate a little bit and maybe take the left ear towards the left shoulder and floss through there. Okay, another branch of the sciatic nerve you can get into though is the sural branch, and that would mean instead of bringing the arches of the foot away from you, the big toe comes towards you as the little toe reaches away from you. And the sural branch is actually not a motor nerve, it's a sensory nerve, but it can be really, really helpful, especially if you've had an ankle injury or if you want to prevent ankle injury. So I'm big on that sural branch of the sciatic nerve. So there we go, another opportunity to floss. Then through your runner's lunge, let's find that pyramid pose. Again, pyramid pose, option to floss the sciatic nerve. All right, I'm just gonna hold it though. Maybe you feel also that you've flossed that nerve enough and you're like, I'm good. But I just wanna give you an opportunity to see like all of the possibilities of bringing that nerve floss into your yoga practice. And maybe you're even like, I've been doing this all along. So we'll move into our Prasarita Padottanasana, and this can be a nice one to get into the sural branch. Remember how I said that the inner arches, if you lift the inner arches up, it helps activate the inner thighs, so that's always good, but it can also be a way to get into the sciatic nerve, especially remember that anterior tilt of the pelvis, so lift the sit bones up, so we bring a little bit of tension into that nerve, and then you can also bring the chin to the chest, take each ear to the shoulder, and we're kind of doing both sides at the same time. Cool. Fun times, huh? So come back to the front of the mat and maybe try your Hanumanasana again. See if all this nerve flossing has helped. Sometimes it's just the sciatic nerve is the biggest culprit that stops us in our Hanumanasana. All right, so rise up out of that. One last time to check, to add that in is coming through your runner's lunge into a three-legged down dog, so taking that right leg straight up and back. And this is intense, okay? So do be mindful here, but put a little bend in the left knee because we've got our weight on the left foot as we floss it. But we can play around by just being in the three-legged down dog, really holding the pelvis in that anterior tilt, bringing the chin to the chest, having the ankle already in that dorsiflexion. We're kind of getting into the sciatic nerve there, but this time with weight. And that means extra learning for the brain. All right, step that right foot forward, step the left foot to meet it, rise up halfway, and exhale, fold. Put a little bend in the knees. Give it a good shake. And let's just do all that on the other side. So reach the arms up, take an inhale, exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up halfway. Remember, you've got an option here. You can even play around with what your ankles are doing to get into the different branches of the sciatic nerve. You don't have to overthink it so much. It's just moving everything around. When you're ready, step the right foot back, lower the knee down, rise up, and then take your half Hanumanasana. So the difference between the different branches is basically what your ankle is doing. And if you remember from hack number 2, moving our ankles around, this is just another reason why I'm such a big fan of just moving ankles, getting ankle movement into these different poses that we hold in yoga, because maybe you don't even know it. Maybe you're not even aware, like, oh, I'm flossing different branches of my sciatic nerve, or I'm helping my hip mobility. It doesn't even matter. Just get your ankle moving and you're gonna feel better all around. So, lift the back knee up, maybe find your pyramid pose, play around with that a little bit if you want to. You can try that Prasarita Padottanasana again. All right, so feel free to like pause the video if you want to hang out here, but I think we've done enough. We've done enough neural flossing of that sciatic nerve now, so you can also just chill out here and just be like, wow, never knew how good a wide-legged forward fold could feel, because you've just got your sciatic nerve feeling so much more, well, less restricted. All right, let's move on. So back to the front of the mat, and maybe shimmy through a half Hanuman or towards your full split. And remember, of course, all of our other brain hacks that I've talked about in other videos. So you can use your eyes, you can use what we did in the first one, press the legs into the floor, lift the legs away from the floor, all those things. Just mix it up. Slide on out of that, lower the hands down, lift the back knee up, and take the left leg all the way up and back into your three-legged down dog. So remember I talked about how if you want to get that leg higher in your three-legged down dog, it's less about what the left leg in this instance is doing and more about getting the hip tilted. All right, so right sit bone's lifting up, and the sciatic nerve is the big player in that movement that might stop you. So with the knee bent, nice and gentle, maybe you start to just bring a little bit of movement in, lifting the sit bones up with the knee bent, and then maybe starting to straighten that knee while the right heel stays down. All right, that's enough of that. Step the left foot forward, step the right foot to meet it, lower the hips down, roll back onto your bum, back where we started, and take all the time that you need and all the time that you got. As much time as you can, give yourself now to just lie down and relax. Rest is absolutely another brain hack, really. We need that time to rest on our mats in order to incorporate all of these things that we've done. Of course, our brain is just not going to be on board to keep learning and learning all the time with no rest. So do give yourself that time. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember, I've got so much more to share on this subject. So check out all of my other resources. Just go through the description. It's all there. And leave a comment, email me if you have any questions. I absolutely love hearing from you. Thank you for being your awesome self and joining me in these videos. I hope I'll see you again soon.